Hello everybody, I hope you are doing good today. I make again a little live stream today. At the moment you can see I'm in a live trade with MetaGrid on the EURCAD. It's a buy trade and I will show you in some minutes why I opened this trade, and it's a long going trade. I opened it already last Friday. Some hours before the weekend started, and this trade costs me some nerves, but finally it goes now the right way, and I hope it will doing this some hours more, because I want to reach, if we look here higher, we have the bank sell level. This is the level where normally the banks and the traders with more money begin to sell on this day. So if we could reach here this zone, then I would maybe close this trade, and I show you in some minutes that we have here more above. But why had I opened this trade on Friday, I made a screenshot on Friday. This is the screenshot. You can see this is the chart some hours before the weekend started on Friday, last Friday, and I opened here the trade. And the reason for this was, if you look here, you can see it made here based on this low, a higher low, and then again a higher low, and then again a higher low. And so my thinking was that this pair could go higher, and this is the reason why I opened here this buy trade. Besides the fact that we had here a very strong trend line, it's a red one painted from a MetaGrid, and this is a daily trend line, and okay, the candle has to break this strong trend line, this daily trend line, and I think maybe this was the reason why for the first hours after I opened here this trade, maybe the resistance was too strong above here, so you can see the price was going down and against me, but I had my stop loss over the weekend on this low here. At the moment I don't have a stop loss at all. If I am live trading and I'm in front of my screen on my desk, I remove the stop loss. But over the weekend, and if I'm not in front of my screen, I placed here the stop loss, so I was safe and was not stopped out. But now is the question, how far can this pair move? My goal would be that we come here to this, at least to this bank sell level today. This is my hoping here for this pair. Besides that, you can see that MetaGrid gave today two buy signals, and both are in profit today. So if I had waited for these two signals, I had more pleasure with this trade, because this drawdown here was not very nice, and finally I was not got stopped out, but still you can see the two buy signals from MetaGrid today. The order block signals are good, and I think we could reach here this area today, because the price bounced here on this strong block. These blue boxes are strong blocks painted from MetaGrid. You can see it bounced here several times today, and it made here a really nice pin bar on this block, and after that pin bar the price was going upwards. And so far it wants to go higher. The euro is against the Canadian dollar very strong today, which is good. After we saw a weaker euro, today we see a better one. And yeah, maybe we can reach this area here. I wanted to show you another thing, why I think we could reach this area today. For this I have to switch to my other MT4 account. This is this one here. This is a demo account, and I can show you here with the supply and demand indicator on the chart. So it's metagrid and a supply and demand indicator. And if we look here higher, this is the area where I told you that we have the bank sell level where I want, this is my hope that we come at least so far, but then you can see we have again a strong order block painted from metagrid, and on the same place we have this supply level. It's a green box which stands for a M15 supply level. So M15 is not the strongest one, but with the fact that we have here the bank sell level, that we have this strong block here, we have here two red order blocks and this supply zone on the same area or almost on the same zone. This is the zone where I want to see price going today, and I hope to get here this target. I don't know if we see it during this live broadcast, and it's also always possible that the price suddenly goes against me. You know it from trading, but still the hope is there, and I could, for example, already mark a target here with metagrid in case I miss it if we get suddenly a up move. So let's say that we want to reach here this area a little bit higher as the bank sell level, or we say okay, we want exactly the bank sell level. It's for 50 euros. I think that's great. So let's mark this here. If it reaches here this target, this is a profit of 50 euros, a little bit more than 50 euros. We will see. I think I will make this live video maybe 30 minutes or maximum 60 minutes. In case you have some questions in the live chat on YouTube, you can use this chat box. Otherwise we can go through some more charts. For example, what I can show you today is also, and I open for this again my demo account. For the people who are following the EURCAD channel on Telegram, there's at the moment a really interesting method a lot of people are using, and I made for this a first version of a scanner. It's running here on this demo account. I called it at the moment Channel Finder. It scans here through the pairs and gives an alert if a setup is there which fits to the rules of this method. And if I get such an alert, then I open the chart with all the indicators on it, and I check if there is a valid entry, for example. And we had today, let's see, some signals. For example, this signal here, this was on the euro against the Swedish krona, and it was a possible sell trade which the scanner found, and on a demo account I marked here the possible entry so that I can see if this signal will hold or not. Here on this candle I would have entered this trade. This was after I got the alert, and here this is the entry line and this would be the stop loss line, and at the moment it's a little bit in drawdown, and you can see now it begins here on the M15 to bounce already, and we will see if this signal can go in profit or it will reach the stop loss line here. So I only want to test the scanner and the signals and how good they are. We had also a signal, a possible buy on the dollar against the Switzerland currency. But this signal was not valid. I checked it on the M15 then, which is a part of this method. In case you don't know it so far, you can go to our EURCAD Telegram channel. There are a lot of information about this new method. But this signal was not valid, so I did not enter it. And earlier today we had a signal, a possible sell on here the pound. Then there's our order block signals. Then we have here some signals you can see on the Kiwi against also the Swiss currencies. Are a lot of signals today. We had here on the pound on the euro pound a possible sell during the night, but I would not take maybe these signals during the night. But you can see the scanner already gives the signals, and it scans through here the stuff, and it gives always an alert if we have on the H1 time frame a blue arrow and it bounces on the trend channel. So if this here would be higher, so it's already gone because it scans very fast through the pairs. But if we get a situation where we have a blue arrow and the blue arrow bounces, or the candle bounces on this blue arrow on the trend channel or the outer trend channel, then the scanner gives an alert, and then you would check on your M15 time frame for a yellow box in the correct direction to enter this trade. Like here I got the Euro SEK signal, then this yellow box was there already on the chart on M15, and this is the reason why I ended here this sell trade only on demo. Of course I did not open the trade, it's only marked for demo that I can check how this trade would have developed. Okay, so this is the very first version of the scanner. Of course it needs a screen where you can see all the alerts and that you can easily open then your charts if there's an alert there, like on the EURCAD scanner. So this will take some more days that we can have the first stable beta version of this, and of course I want to see if this method is worth to make such a scanner, and then we will see more of this stuff. So back to my trade. After I talked a lot, we are still going higher on my pair here, and maybe if this pair is nice to me, we would maybe see that it reaches here the target for 50 euros, and then finally this trade would pay me out after I waited since Friday for this to happen. We will see. The question here is, can you use H4, H1 supply and demand zones on the 15-minute chart? Yes, this is possible with this supply and demand indicator. Let's see if I go back to my demo account where I have the supply and demand indicator on it. Let's see if we can do it here. You can see I switch, let's go on a chart like this here. This is a M15 chart, and the supply and demand indicator paints all the other supply and demand zones in it. In this case, if you look here, it paints here the M15 supply and demand zones. Here is a H1 supply and demand zone, for example. Here deeper we have also a white box, which is a H1 demand zone. And let's see on the settings, just a moment. I open the indicator but without the serial number in it for obvious reasons. Then I can show you the settings of the supply and demand indicator and how you can change it. Let's see. Give me one more minute. So, let's see if I can show it to you here. These are the settings for the supply and demand indicator. You can here decide which time frames you want to be displayed. I'm at the moment in the auto mode. This means the supply and demand indicator displays the best supply and demand zones for my time frame. So if I am on a M15 time frame, it would display me the M15, the H1 and the H4 supply and demand zones. But if you don't like this automatically mode, you can here decide which time frame the indicator should show. And if you, for example, this was your question, can you show the H4 and H1 supply and demand zones on the M15 charts, then you would put here this H1 to true and the H4 time frame to true, and then you open the indicator on a M15 charts, and then only these two supply and demand zones would be displayed on your chart. And if you're on the auto mode like I am at the moment, you get always the best supply and demand zones for your time frame. Is it possible that we have reached the target? I got an alert. Yes, look at this. My live trade reached here the target. I already heard the alert, the sound alert, and you can see how nicely it bounces directly after we get to the bank sell level, and this is live. You can see it. We had a first sell, it was going down, so there were sell orders sitting, or the bigger traders already began also to sell here the first order. So this was the reason for this suddenly spike downwards, and I am on my target now, and I have my money made after some days. So 50 euros in the pocket is very nice. And so it really reached here this zone I had aimed for. And now is the question if there are more sell orders or so, and then it will maybe go a little bit down. But you can see with this, you can find very good targets on your chart. If you look on the MetaGrid predictions and the supply and demand zones, then you can see where maybe a possible target sits on your screen. In this case, we get a lot of buying pressure here at the moment at this pair, which is very nice. I think it's also the beginning of the US session at the moment, and maybe some news, because the Canadian dollar is really going hard down at the moment, as I can see on the other chart. But you can see we get the next spike here on this zone, because we are over the bank sell level, where we expect that people like me who are on a buy trade here begin then to close the trade and bank the profit, and this gives then such spikes you can see here. And so this was basically a good target. Here I was going in, like I told you, and now we reached during this live session indeed the target. To be honest, I did not thought that we reach it that fast, but in this case you saw it live as it happened, and you can see the price has some problems now here to come through this zone, because we had here all the stuff going on. I showed you at the beginning of this live stream the bank sell level, here the order block, and we also have here moving average here, which acts as resistance. So, and at the moment a lot of people, I think, will bank the profit, and then the question is, will new buyers step in? Then the price will of course go higher. Let's see if we have more above. It's very free here, not much resistance. If we come through these two order zones here, or the blocks, it's also possible that this is the end of this move, and sellers are too strong. The price here then goes again a little bit down. But you can see how precise this order block system works. It gives the spikes because here are a point where many people will bank the profit. But if more buyers step in, of course, it will not hold and it will go higher. So we don't know it yet, but we have a big potential that the price here begins to stop for a while. And this was the reason for my target. And after 3 days of waiting, I think it's also good to close here the trade. And I'm really happy that we have here reached this target. How can I get the bank's level indicator is here the question. This bank level lines are part of MetaGrid premium version. So if you have the MetaGrid Trade Manager and you buy the premium version, then you have this bank sell and buy levels on it. You have this auto trend lines on it. You have the order blocks in it, and of course the moving average, which is also automatically painted the best moving average for every pair. Which is not part of MetaGrid is of course the supply and demand zones. This is an own indicator, but the MetaGrid premium version has and this blocks here in it. And also the signals, the MetaGrid Premium version has this signals, and these two buy signals today were very good on this pair. You can see if you had entered here today this buy trade, you also made the same profit as I did after waiting for 3 days. But on Friday I had no buy signal here, it came today, and you see it was a very good signal here today. Of course, not every signal is a winner, to be honest. Like always on trading, you will have signals, they will work, and there will be signals which are not bring profit to you. But in this case, the signals are very good because you see the bouncing here on the order block, and if you see that it begin here to bounce, and then you get here these buy signals, it's really worth it to go into a buy trade. Even if you have here this strong daily trend line, and this yellow one is a H4 trend line, price came easily through it, and and as I told you before, the reason I entered this trade was on Friday that we got higher lows. Here was a higher low, and then we get again a higher low here, and this was the reason I entered here the trade, like I showed you at the beginning of the video, where I showed you my screenshot of the trade on Friday. I'm really happy for this trade here. Now I can look for another trade, maybe tomorrow in some hours. Normally at the moment I go only in one trade. I focus on one pair, and I watch several pairs, of course, but not more than 4 or 5, and I watch them over several days. And if I see then on a one pair that, like here, lower highs came in, or a bounce on a special area, then I open this trade, and then I stay on this pair until it's over. For 2-3 years ago, I was going into more trades, maybe on 3, 4, 5 trades a week, or the same on the same time, better to say. But in my opinion, it's better to focus and stay on one trade, on one pair, and that you really watch this pair several times a day. If you maybe have more monitors on, or more screens on your working place or your office, then you can maybe have one pair always open. You watch it all day long, and if it does the stuff you think it could do, then you may be on the right side for a trade, and then you step in. But you can see the buyers are really strong on the EURCAD today. It now goes higher and did not stop here. We had a really maybe 5-10 minutes where you could where you saw that the sellers or the buyers like me took profit. The price bounced here on this area, and now it goes higher for the next order zone, order block zone. It's 2 sell order blocks here, where we again expect that maybe buyers could take profit, and you can see a little bit bounce here on the first line. I would not open at the moment a sell trade here. You should not use these order block lines with the method that you say, okay, it reached now this red line, and now I open a sell trade. This is not how we should work with the order blocks, because we need a confirmation that this order block prediction here is correct, and that the sellers step in. So what we want to see here is maybe on a lower time frame, like on the M15, that it begins here to bounce, and maybe we get a double top here on the M15 on such a line, and then you can go into a sell trade. But at the moment the buyers are too strong on this pair, and I could even go for a higher target, but I think it was good to go out here. But don't use the order blocks without confirmation. It's like every other indicator on the market. You need confirmation for your trades, and the same is with the signals from MetaGrid. You should not step into a signal which you don't like, and if it against the market structure here. but these blue signals had a confirmation. We are sitting here on a lot of green buy order blocks. We are sitting here on this strong order block box. It made higher lows the last days. Okay, here it made a lower low, but then after this it made again a higher low here. Then we had here a double bottom here at this box, and if you get such a double bottom and such a box, and then you get two blue buy signals, then I would of course step in. If I had not this trade open on Friday, I for sure had opened it today, and it gave a nice profit today. What I can show you too today is that on September the next update for MetaGrid will be released, and one new thing on the next version of MetaGrid is that we have here a new button for the pair switcher. If you don't know MetaGrid and what a pair switcher is, I will make a video for this, because MetaGrid can automatically change the pairs and find for you good pairs to trade. But basically this function is used by the auto trader from MetaGrid, but if you use it for manual trading, it can give you very easy a lot of good charts to look at. And so far you only could turn this on and off in the settings of MetaGrid, but in the next version you can also start and stop the pair switching directly on the chart. And how I use this and how this can help you with trading, I will show in an own video in the next days, so before the next version is released. And then you will maybe understand why this pair switching method on MetaGrid is a really helpful function. I think most of you maybe don't even know why this pair switcher is so powerful. And I will show you this. You can see here it bounced here on this next order block again, and this is you can see on its live, so there's nothing I could change or manipulate here. You can see on this next strong order block again a bounce. If we maybe change to the M5, then we can maybe see it better. I clean here the chart that we can here see it better. If you click on clean, all will be reloaded new from MetaGrid. And you can see on the M5 that it came here to this red sell order block, and then it gave here this bounce. And if you ask for scalping trading or you are a scalper, then this gave here this bounce almost 15 pips on this line. Of course, if you are a scalper, then you would not wait here for a double top, then you would try it here to come into a scalping trade. What I told you with the double tops and double bottoms is, if you are looking for trades like I did today with 20, 30 or more pips, then of course you would not enter here into a trade at the moment, because the buyers are so strong and it's very likely that we even come higher today on this pair. But for scalping you can also use here the order blocks, and you can very often make on such lines 5, 10, 15 pips. But in this case you have to be very fast, but scalpers are fast. Yeah, thanks Legion 7. If you like the supply and demand indicator, this is very good. Basically I made this supply and demand indicator for one reason. I was the years before with another firm which also had a supply and demand indicator in their portfolio, but the problem with this supply and demand indicator was that it was really the price was very high. It had some monthly price, and I guess I had to pay 30 or 50 euros every month for using this multi-time frame supply and demand indicator. Even it was also good, but the price was much too high. I don't see any reason why I have to pay 30, 50 or 60 euros a month for using a supply and demand indicator. So this was the reason I began to code it by myself, and for a one-time fee, because I think an indicator should have a one-time fee. And this was the main reason why I did this indicator, and I use it a lot for my own trading. In this case, for this setup I showed you today, I had not used the supply and demand indicator, besides the fact for the target, like I showed you, because here was the M15 supply zone. M15 are not so strong for the zones. If I go back to the demo account, if you, for example, look here, we'll take here this one, you can see the dollar crashed a little bit. If we go here on a daily time frame, for example, you can see in the auto mode from the supply and demand indicator, if you go on the daily time frame, it does not show anymore the M15 or H1 supply and demand zones. Then on the daily time frame, it only shows you here the H4 demand zone, and in the red ones are the daily zones, and I don't see at the moment a weekly zone here. It would be painted here on it. And let's see if we can go on a weekly chart. If you go on the weekly chart, you can see it then paints not anymore the H4 time at the H4 supply and demand zones. It even goes higher here on it, and you can see there a really nice trade here on this one. It created here this demand zone. The price came back into this demand zone and then really was going up again. Let's see how many pips this made. If you had placed here on the beginning of the demand zone a buy order, and on the highest point we had over 400 pips on the weekly chart with this simple box here. And this is always what's fascinating on the supply and demand trading, in my opinion. On the daily, I removed the order blocks here. On the daily time frame, at the moment we had no bounce that I can see. We have two zones here, the daily zone above us and a lot of demand zones below. This basically means that this pair is on a buy trend at the moment. If you see such a picture that you have a lot of demand zones on your chart but not many supply zones, then you know for sure that this pair is trending in the buy direction at the moment. And maybe if the price came back here to this H4 demand zone, which is very small on the daily, but I think if you look how many are, okay, it's on the daily a bit more than 50 pips. If you get maybe here a buy reaction for 100 or 200 pips with a stop loss of 50 pips, it's a really good deal here, for example. If you look on the H4, you can see this crash now on the dollar, for example. Of course, then even such a H1 demand zone does not hold anymore, but we would not step into a trade if we see such a really big red candle. Even it's possible that this zone where the demand zone is, maybe is a zone where this price turns again and goes up again. We don't know it yet, but I would more likely step into here in a buy trade on the yellow demand box if I see such a strong sell candle, and if the sellers are still strong, then the next area I would maybe try for a little buy trade here on this yellow one. Only to show you the supply demand indicator, I think we can make an own live broadcast where we only focus on the supply and demand indicator. The reason today was that I wanted to show you my live trade, and you still can see that this red order block line on MetaGrid was a zone where indeed sell order block was sitting on the chart, and we get here this bounce at the moment. And for scalpers, like I showed you on the M5 time frame, it's a very good opportunity to make some profit here. Yeah, I don't see any more questions at the moment. Like I told you, in September we get the next update for MetaGrid, and then the pair switcher can be turned on and off directly on the chart, and maybe some more little things which come in the next, which will come in the next update. You saw my profit trade today live. I expected that it reached the target a little bit later, maybe in 1 or 2 hours, but it happened during this live session, which was also very nice and fun, made fun. I wish you a nice day. This was it for today, and I come back with the next live session. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Besides the live broadcast, I always make some videos about trading and new stuff which is going on MetaGrid, and I will do, of course, a video as soon as the new scanner for this method I told you is ready, the new EURCAD trading method. Look at the EURCAD trading channel on Telegram. There are more about this. It's not a method I created. So I only building at a scanner at the moment that we can easily find some setups for this new method. I wish you a nice day. Until next time, and for sure I wish you a lot of pips with trading. Goodbye.